Before you scroll, listen to this carefully, because this may be about the one person you try to forget but somehow never can. The one who enters your mind in the quietest moments. The one who shows up when the day slows down, when the room gets silent, when your heart is no longer distracted by noise. That is not always random. That is not always weakness. And it is not always just memory. Sometimes when a person keeps returning to your thoughts, it is because the connection touched something deep in you that still has not found peace. Maybe the story between you never got a clear ending. Maybe the feelings were real, but the timing was wrong. Maybe something important was felt, yet never fully spoken. And that is why your mind keeps going back. Stay with me, because what you are feeling may have a deeper meaning than you think. If there is someone you cannot stop thinking about even after trying your best, then this message is going to speak directly to that quiet place inside you that still wonders, still remembers, and still hopes for answers. The person you cannot stop thinking about may truly care about you more than you realize. Even if everything between you feels uncertain, mixed, distant, or hard to read right now, there may be a deeper reason they remain alive in your thoughts. It is not always happening because you are lonely. It is not always because you are bored, emotional, or stuck in the past. Sometimes a bond stays active because something meaningful was created between two people, and that meaning does not disappear just because life became quiet. This person comes back to your mind for a reason. Even when you do not try to think about them, they appear in the small openings of the day, in the pause before sleep, in the soft moment after waking up, in the middle of ordinary tasks when you are doing nothing connected to them at all. Then suddenly, there they are. Their face, their voice, a memory, a feeling, a moment you thought had passed, returning with full weight. Listen closely, because this matters. When someone appears in your mind without force, without effort, and without your permission, it often means the emotional connection was deeper than surface attraction. It touched your inner world. And what touches the inner world does not leave quickly. You may have tried to move on many times. You may have told yourself with full seriousness that enough is enough. You may have said it is over, that it serves no purpose to keep thinking about them, that your energy should go somewhere else now. You may have reminded yourself of the silence, the confusion, the distance, the unanswered questions, the way things never became clear. You may have even felt frustrated with yourself for still caring. But no matter how many times you try to push the thought away, it returns. Quietly, steadily, again and again. That does not automatically mean something is wrong with you. It does not mean you are desperate. It does not mean you are unable to let go. Sometimes it means a part of your emotional life is still trying to understand what really happened. Sometimes the heart keeps turning toward what the mind has not fully resolved. And when the story between two people never reached a clean conclusion, the soul keeps circling the same space, looking for meaning, looking for truth, looking for some kind of peace. If this feels familiar, keep watching in your mind as this unfolds, because the reason may not be as simple as missing someone. It may be about unfinished emotion still asking to be seen. There are connections in life that are not built only through logic, timing, or labels. They are built in deeper places where emotion, memory, desire, fear, and meaning all come together. When someone keeps appearing in your thoughts with no effort from you, it often points to emotional energy that was never fully expressed. Something was felt strongly. Something was shared, even if it was never defined properly, even if no one said the exact words, even if both of you stepped back before the connection could take its full shape. That kind of bond does not vanish just because conversation stopped. Silence does not erase what was felt. Distance does not automatically destroy emotional truth. In many cases, people carry strong feelings in silence because they do not know what to do with them. They may be confused, they may be overwhelmed, they may be afraid of making a mistake. They may feel too much and still not feel ready, so they stay quiet. But quiet does not always mean empty. Stillness does not always mean indifference. Sometimes the person who says nothing is carrying more inside than the one who speaks openly. And yes, it is possible that while you are thinking about them, they are also thinking about you in ways they never say out loud. Let that sink in for a moment. You may feel them at strange times, a sudden wave of warmth, a deep sadness with no clear cause, A sudden pull in your chest when you hear a song, see a place, or remember a small detail connected to them. It can happen during a normal day. It can happen late at night. It can happen while everything around you seems calm. These moments can feel confusing because they do not always come with logic. But strong emotional connections often move below the surface in ways that are hard to explain with plain words. They do not follow rules. They do not follow schedules. They do not disappear just because they are inconvenient. You are not weak for feeling this. You are human. And when something meaningful touches your life deeply, it leaves a mark. That mark stays until it is understood, healed, transformed, or gently released over time. This does not mean you should stop living your life and wait forever. It does not mean every deep feeling is meant to become a relationship. But it does mean the bond mattered. It was real to your inner world. And confusion does not cancel that. Silence does not cancel that. Even distance does not cancel that. Stay with this idea because it changes everything. A connection can be real even when it is unclear, and it can be meaningful even when it has not yet found a clear form. If this person still lives in your thoughts, it may be because something between you has not fully closed. That does not mean the story must continue in the same painful way. It simply means it mattered enough to leave a deep trace. Things that matter take time to settle in the heart, and often what keeps disturbing us is not what is finished, but what was left open. Human beings can live with endings. What shakes us deeply are the half endings, the maybe endings, the stories that stopped before the truth was fully spoken. That is why you may think of them when something good happens and you want to share it. When you laugh at something small, when you have a win, when you see something beautiful and instantly imagine telling them first. That says something important. It means they were not just part of your pain. They were also connected to your joy, your softness, your inner life. And when a person becomes linked to both your wounds and your light, forgetting them is never simple. Watch this pattern carefully. You may not only miss the person, you may miss the version of yourself that felt alive with them. The version of you that opened, hoped, imagined, and felt seen. That is why the pull can feel bigger than romance. It is not only about them, it is also about what the connection awakened inside you. Some people awaken hidden parts of us. They touch a side of us that had been sleeping. They reflect something back to us that feels familiar, honest, and deeply alive. When access to that reflection is lost, the ache can feel stronger than ordinary longing. It can feel like losing a doorway to your own heart. That is why distance between two people who care about each other does not always happen because love is absent. Many times it happens because timing is off, fear is strong, or inner conflict gets in the way. One person may feel too much and not know how to handle it. One person may want closeness and fear it at the same time. One person may care deeply, yet still be trapped in old wounds, old habits, old caution. This is why the connection can feel warm one day and cold the next. One day you feel detached. The next day, one small reminder brings everything back. That emotional swing is exhausting, but it is not unusual. It often means your mind is trying to protect you while your deeper emotional self is still connected underneath. These two parts do not always agree. Healing is not forcing yourself to feel nothing. Healing is understanding why the bond still has power, what it is teaching you, and what it is asking from you now. That is where clarity begins, not in denial, not in obsession, in understanding. If they care about you and still remain distant, there may be an inner struggle happening on their side that you cannot see. They may feel the same pull and still hold back. They may think of you often and still stay silent. They may wonder if you still care and still do nothing. Why? Because feelings and readiness are not always the same thing. Someone can feel love and still not know how to step forward. Someone can care deeply and still be frozen by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of losing control, fear of ruining something beautiful, fear of changing a life that already feels complicated, fear of bringing old pain into something that matters too much. This is why love does not always arrive through bold action. Sometimes it hides behind careful silence. Sometimes it moves slowly because the heart is real, and real things feel heavy. People are casual with what they do not value. But when something matters deeply, people become careful. They think too much, they hold back, they hesitate. Not always because they feel too little, but sometimes because they feel too much. If that hits home, stay with this, because this next truth matters. Distance can be a sign of conflict, not always a sign of emptiness. And that difference changes how the whole story feels inside your heart. They may believe they need to fix themselves before they can come closer to you. They may feel unworthy. They may think you deserve someone more stable, more healed, more ready. They may be carrying pain from past love, disappointment, betrayal, loss, or shame that still shapes how they move. They may be standing between desire and responsibility, between hope and fear, between wanting to reach out and wanting to protect themselves from what could happen next. So they choose silence. They choose distance, not because they do not care, but because closeness feels overwhelming. Sometimes distance becomes the shield a person uses when emotions feel too large to manage. It is easier to stay quiet than to risk saying the wrong thing. It is easier to wait than to face vulnerability. It is easier to hold everything inside than to step forward and possibly lose what matters most. But holding back does not erase love. It simply traps it in caution. And that caution can create the exact silence that hurts both people. If you have ever felt that someone cared and still stayed far away, then you know how painful that confusion is. It makes you question yourself. It makes you wonder if the bond was real. It makes you doubt your own heart. But real feeling does not always come dressed in easy behavior. Sometimes it arrives broken, hesitant, delayed, and afraid. That does not make it unreal. It makes it human. The one who stays distant may be fighting a quiet battle every day. They may think of you when they wake up. They may replay old conversations. They may imagine what could happen if they reached out, and then fear may step in and pull them back. They may feel the beauty of the connection and the danger of it at the same time. This back and forth can exhaust a person from the inside. They may want to be close, but not trust themselves yet. They may want to speak, but not know how to begin. They may want to tell the truth, but feel that too much has passed, too much is uncertain, too much is at stake. So they watch, they wait, they hesitate. And all the while, the bond remains active beneath the silence. This is why the absence of action does not always mean the absence of feeling. It may simply mean that inner courage has not yet caught up with the depth of emotion. That is painful, yes, but it is also important to understand. Because when you stop reading silence as total rejection, you begin to see the deeper shape of the situation. And even if you never get every answer from them, understanding this can free you from some of the harsh judgments you place on yourself. Sometimes you were not imagining the connection. Sometimes the connection was real, but blocked by fear, timing, and emotional unreadiness. For you, the distance can feel especially sharp because you do not experience silence as nothing. You feel it, in your chest, in your thoughts, in the way your mind keeps circling back. In the small daily moments where their absence suddenly feels present again, you notice when warmth turns into caution. You notice when the energy changes. You notice when the story still feels unfinished, even without words. And because you feel deeply, the silence can seem louder than actual conversation. But here is something important to remember. Not every strong connection is meant to stay painful. Not every unfinished story is meant to last forever. Sometimes the purpose of a connection is to awaken you, to teach you patience, to strengthen your self-worth, to show you where you still abandon yourself, and to lead you back to your own center. Sometimes the lesson is not in chasing the person. Sometimes it is in learning how to hold love without losing yourself inside it. Read that again in your heart. You do not need to force meaning where none exists, but you also do not need to dismiss what you feel just because it is hard to explain. Pay attention instead. Notice what comes up when they appear in your mind. Hope, grief, warmth, peace, restlessness, longing. Each feeling tells you something. Each one carries information about the bond and about your own healing. What is meant for you will not require you to betray yourself. It may ask for patience, yes. It may ask for growth. It may ask for emotional maturity. But it will not demand that you live in endless anxiety, begging for crumbs or denying your own needs. This is where many people get lost. They confuse strong feeling with final destiny. They confuse emotional intensity with certainty. But a meaningful bond can be real and still require wisdom. It can be powerful and still ask you to stay grounded. It can matter deeply and still not be ready. That is why your task right now is not to control the outcome. It is to understand what this connection is revealing about you. Is it teaching you to wait without collapsing? Is it teaching you to stop chasing what runs? Is it teaching you to receive love differently? Is it teaching you to trust timing more than panic? Or is it preparing you for a truth that will finally bring peace, whether that peace comes through reunion or release? Stay with that question. Do not rush past it, because the answer may change the way you carry this whole experience. You are not foolish for feeling this deeply. You are not weak for remembering. You are responding to something that touched your inner life in a serious way, and serious things do not disappear overnight. If one day the distance closes, it will not be because you forced it with fear. It will be because both people became ready enough to meet without running from what is real. And if one day it does not close, that will not erase the meaning it had. Some connections stay in our lives not to remain forever, but to transform us forever. They change the way we love, the way we see, the way we understand timing, desire, and emotional truth. They leave us softer in some places and stronger in others. They break illusions, they reveal hidden wounds. They show us how deeply we can feel, and even that has value. So when this person enters your mind again, do not attack yourself for it. Do not force the thought away with anger. Let it pass through you with awareness. Let it show you what is still alive, what is still healing, and what is still asking for peace. This is not about living in fantasy. It is about listening with honesty. If they return to your thoughts often, then something in the connection still carries weight. Maybe it is love. Maybe it is unfinished emotion. Maybe it is a lesson still opening. Maybe it is all of these at once. And that is why the feeling lingers, even when the world outside gives you no clear explanation. There is also a quiet truth many people do not want to admit. Sometimes the reason you cannot stop thinking about someone is because part of you senses that the bond is still alive on both sides, even if it is inactive in the outer world. Not proven, not spoken, but felt. A subtle thread, a strange knowing, a repeated return. This does not mean you should build your life around waiting. It does not mean you should stop moving forward. It means you should respect the emotional truth of what you experienced without turning it into a prison. You can honor the connection and still choose your peace. You can admit the feeling and still keep your standards. You can love what was real without abandoning what is healthy for you now. That balance matters a lot, because the deepest maturity is not pretending you never cared. It is caring honestly, without letting care destroy your center. So if they are still in your thoughts, let that fact tell you something simple but powerful. The bond mattered. It touched you. It opened something. It changed something. And whether its purpose is reunion, closure, healing, or growth, it is still speaking to your life. Listen carefully. Not with panic, not with fantasy, with calm, with truth, with self-respect. That is how meaning becomes wisdom. And maybe this is the part you most needed to hear. If someone keeps returning to your mind, it does not always mean they are the one you must end up with, but it often means the connection is asking not to be ignored. It is asking to be understood. It is asking to be felt clearly instead of pushed into shadows. It is asking you to see what was real, what was missing, what was beautiful, and what still needs healing in you. Maybe they love you, and distance is only a temporary wall built by fear. Maybe they care, but their inner world is not ready yet. Maybe the story is unfinished. Or maybe the final gift of the connection is the way it leads you back to yourself, wiser and more whole. Either way, your feelings are not meaningless. Your thoughts are not random. Your heart is responding to something that mattered. So be gentle with yourself when their memory appears. Breathe when the ache returns. Stay soft, but stay grounded. Let the connection teach you, not break you. Let it deepen you, not empty you. And if this message feels like it put words to what you have quietly carried for so long, then hold on to this final truth. What is real does not always move fast, but what is truly meant for your life will never ask you to lose yourself just to hold on to it.